It began like any ordinary day on Earth. People went about their routines, unaware of the storm brewing far beyond the sky. Children laughed in playgrounds. Office workers hurried through busy streets, and night shifts carried on in hospitals and factories. Life seemed normal, as if nothing could shake the balance of human existence. But the universe had already taken note of Earth, and the calm before the storm was about to shatter. At first, it started with strange signals in space. Astronomers noticed patterns that did not belong to anything known. Satellites began picking up enormous objects, moving faster than anything humans had ever seen. Governments and scientists around the world watched in disbelief as a massive fleet appeared in the solar system. Their ships were colossal, black as void, and perfectly shaped for war. This was no ordinary visitor. These were emissaries of a galactic force, and their message was clear. A communication burst reached Earth, transmitted in a way no translator could fully decode at first. But the meaning was unmistakable. The message demanded submission. The planet was to kneel before the galactic command, surrender all resources, and accept their authority or face complete annihilation. Panic spread quickly. News outlets broadcast the message repeatedly, and every corner of the planet filled with fear and uncertainty. People asked themselves questions no one had ever imagined. Could humanity survive an enemy so powerful? Was there even a chance to fight back? Leaders across the world convened emergency meetings. The United Nations called for immediate consultation, but there was no clear solution. Diplomats tried to communicate, sending peaceful messages, hoping the fleet would reconsider. But the aliens ignored every attempt at negotiation. Their fleet orbited the Earth like predators circling prey. Every hour, humanity realized more painfully that they were facing an enemy that saw them as nothing more than ants. Amid this fear, a coalition of humans began to rise. Scientists, military commanders, and engineers secretly met in hidden facilities to discuss Earth's only option: resistance. They knew that facing the fleet head-on seemed impossible, but retreat was not an option. Humanity had survived wars, pandemics, and natural disasters before. Now the greatest challenge would demand not only courage, but also ingenuity. The plan was ambitious. They would build a secret fleet, one capable of standing against the alien Armada. It would not be ordinary ships. They would need advanced weaponry, stealth systems, and technology that could match the incomprehensible power of their enemy. Teams worked around the clock. Engineers modified existing spacecraft and reverse-engineered alien transmissions. Pilots trained day and night, learning maneuvers that could give them even the slightest advantage. It was exhausting, dangerous work, but no one dared to stop. The survival of humanity depended on their dedication. At the same time, ordinary people carried on with their lives, though fear hung heavy in the air. Families huddled together, whispering about the news they heard. Children asked questions that adults could barely answer. Schools closed as governments prepared for evacuation zones near the coasts. Cities were fortified, and emergency drills became the new normal. Life on the surface of Earth was a fragile balance between hope and despair. The world had never felt smaller, yet it had never felt more united either. Among the planners and fighters, there were individuals whose courage became the heart of this effort. A fleet commander, known for both wisdom and determination, guided the new Black Armada with patience and insight. A young pilot, untested but fearless, dreamed of defending the planet in ways no one had imagined. And an engineer, brilliant yet humble, worked tirelessly to integrate alien technology into human-made machines. Together, they represented the essence of humanity: intelligence, bravery, and the unwillingness to surrender. Their meetings were tense. Every strategy session was a debate about life and death. Would humanity have enough resources? Could the ships withstand the first attack? How could they turn fear into courage on such a massive scale? Each problem seemed impossible, yet slowly solutions emerged. Humans are resourceful. They adapted, they learned, and they discovered strength in places they did not expect. The Black Armada began to take shape, not just as a fleet of ships, but as a symbol of hope that outside these secret operations, life continued with a strange mixture of normality and terror. Markets still opened, planes still flew, and news reporters spoke of both panic and resilience. Some people refused to believe that war was coming. They clung to routine, to small comforts, and to the idea that Earth might somehow escape the wrath of the galaxy. Others prepared, stockpiling supplies and building shelters. Every individual, whether knowingly or unknowingly, became part of the defense of humanity. As the days passed, the alien fleet loomed closer. Shadows of enormous ships cast over oceans and continents. People stared at the sky in disbelief, watching as humanity faced the greatest test it had ever known. Fear was everywhere, yet so was determination. In small towns and massive cities alike, humans discovered courage they had never seen before. Stories of bravery began to circulate, pilots volunteering for dangerous missions, scientists working without sleep, and citizens helping one another in ways that defied the chaos. Even as the fleet prepared to strike, Earth's inhabitants did not give up. They learned to work together, to trust in each other despite differences in language, culture, and politics. Leaders made bold decisions to unite nations, knowing that survival depended on cooperation. Technology, once divided among nations, became a shared treasure. Engineers shared designs, pilots trained together, and strategies were coordinated across continents. Humanity's response was slow at first, but steadily it grew into something powerful. The story of the Black Armada was not just about machines and weapons. It was about people. Every ship launched represented countless hands that had worked tirelessly. Every maneuver reflected hours of study and practice. Every decision was shaped by those who refused to surrender. The fleet was a testament to the human spirit, fragile yet resilient, small yet capable of immense courage. As the first part of this great story ended, the stage was set. Humanity had moved from panic to preparation, from fear to determination. The alien fleet waited, expecting an easy victory. Humans, though aware of the odds, had begun to fight back. The seeds of resistance were sown, and the Black Armada stood ready to answer the universe with fire. The question that remained was whether courage, intelligence, and unity could withstand the power of a galactic force determined to see Earth kneel. And so, the people of Earth waited, worked, and hoped, knowing that everything depended on what they would do next. The first part of their story ended, but the battle for survival, the story of fire, courage, and humanity, was only beginning. Humanity had no choice but to act. The threat hanging over Earth was immense, almost unimaginable, yet people began to organize. From the ashes of fear, a plan slowly took shape. The nations of the world, who had long argued over borders and resources, realized that survival demanded unity. No single country, no matter how powerful, could stand against the alien fleet alone. And so, the concept of the Black Armada was born. The Black Armada was not just a fleet. It was a symbol of humanity's determination to survive. Scientists, engineers, and military leaders worked together in secret. In deserts, underground bunkers, and hidden shipyards, humans built ships that could reach the stars. Every machine, every piece of technology, was designed with one goal in mind: to defend Earth. People worked tirelessly, knowing that failure would mean the end of life as they knew it. The ships themselves were unlike anything humans had ever imagined. Some were fast and nimble, built for quick attacks and evasive maneuvers. Others were massive, carrying weapons that could launch devastating strikes. Engineers experimented with energy shields, advanced propulsion systems, and weapons that could harness the environment itself. They studied alien transmissions, learning how the enemy operated, and slowly began to find weaknesses in their technology. It was a race against time, and the stakes were higher than anything the world had faced. The people who worked on the Black Armada were extraordinary, even if they were ordinary in every other way. There was a commander who had spent years leading space missions, now tasked with directing humanity's first real defense against an alien force. His calm, steady leadership became a pillar of hope. Then there was a young pilot, untested but fearless, whose instincts and courage made everyone believe that survival was possible. And a brilliant engineer, quiet but determined, who spent long hours figuring out how to make human ships stronger, faster, and smarter than the enemy expected. Training for the Black Armada was grueling. Pilots spent hours in simulation chambers, learning to react in ways that humans had never needed before. They practiced coordinating attacks, defending vulnerable ships, and moving through the vast emptiness of space without error. Many nights, exhaustion took over, but they continued. They were not just training to fight, they were training to survive, and to protect every life on Earth. At the same time, engineers faced their own challenges. Building ships capable of standing against an alien fleet was not easy. Some designs failed spectacularly, exploding on test runs or malfunctioning at critical moments. Yet with every failure, humans learned something new. Slowly, innovation grew. Designs were improved. Weapons became sharper, shields stronger, and engines faster. The Black Armada began to take shape, not as a single fleet, but as a coordinated force with multiple strengths, capable of facing the unimaginable. But preparing for battle was not only about machines. Humanity had to prepare itself mentally and emotionally. Fear was everywhere, and panic often threatened to undo progress. People had to learn to trust each other, to set aside personal differences, and to work as a single unit. Towns and cities sent volunteers to help, from building equipment to supporting families of those working in secret bases. Humanity became a network of effort, where every hand, every mind, contributed to the larger goal. Stories of bravery began to emerge during this time. A technician repaired a critical engine in the middle of the night, knowing failure would cost lives. A group of pilots spent hours navigating dangerous asteroid fields to practice evasive maneuvers. Ordinary citizens contributed by sharing food, resources, and knowledge, helping the workforce stay focused and strong. These small acts, unnoticed by the world at large, were the true foundation of the Black Armada. Humanity was proving that courage was not just found in war, it was found in persistence, care, and dedication. The alien fleet remained a looming shadow. Satellites recorded their movements, and massive ships hovered near the edges of the solar system, waiting. Every step of preparation was done under pressure, knowing that the first strike could come at any moment. This urgency forced humans to innovate at an incredible pace. They developed communication networks that could resist alien interference, automated systems to control parts of the fleet, and tactical simulations that predicted enemy strategies. Every advance made humanity slightly stronger, slightly more capable of answering the galaxy with fire. Among those preparing, there were moments of doubt. Some argued that no matter what humans did, survival was impossible. Others feared that failure would doom not just themselves, but every person on Earth. These moments were intense, filled with tension, yet they also revealed humanity's resilience. Leaders encouraged their teams to focus on what they could control, designing better ships, training harder, thinking smarter. Slowly, confidence grew. Humans realized that even against overwhelming odds, they could fight, and perhaps even win. The Black Armada itself became a symbol beyond its physical presence. It was a promise that humanity would not kneel quietly. Ships were tested in secret space corridors, performing maneuvers that mimicked potential battle scenarios. Pilots flew with skill and precision. Engineers adjusted designs with relentless attention, and commanders coordinated everything with careful planning. Each day brought progress, small victories that strengthened belief in humanity's ability to survive. Even in moments of despair, humans found hope. Families wrote letters to loved ones in the fleet, messages filled with encouragement and love. Communities rallied to support the families of those risking everything. Humanity's strength was not just in technology or strategy. It was in heart, in the bonds between people who refused to give up. These connections became the invisible threads holding the Black Armada together, ensuring that even if ships were destroyed, hope remained alive. By the time the first ships were ready for deployment, the Black Armada was more than a fleet. It was a living representation of humanity's courage, ingenuity, and unity. Every ship carried not only weapons, but the dreams and determination of billions. Pilots and crews understood the risk they might not survive, but they also knew that their efforts could save countless lives. This understanding gave every mission meaning beyond strategy. It gave it purpose, heart, and soul. The stage was set. Humanity had moved from panic to preparation, from fear to determination. The Black Armada was ready to face the galaxy, not because victory was certain, but because surrender was unacceptable. Every individual, whether on the front line or supporting from Earth, played a role in shaping the future. Every late-night repair, every practiced maneuver, every shared idea contributed to humanity's chance to survive. And yet, as the Black Armada prepared, the fleet in space remained a constant threat. Shadows of alien ships loomed near the edge of the solar system, mysterious and powerful. Earth waited, tense but hopeful, as humans prepared to answer a command that demanded their surrender. What would come next? The first confrontation was unknown, and danger was inevitable. But humanity had already achieved something remarkable. In the face of the impossible, people had come together, united by courage, hope, and the refusal to kneel. The story of Part 2 ends with the Black Armada ready for battle, a symbol of human resilience. The ships glimmered under the light of Earth's sun, engines humming with power, and pilots sat in the cockpits, hearts steady despite fear. Humanity was about to answer the universe in a way it had never imagined. They were ready to fight, ready to defend their home, and ready to show that even the smallest planet could rise against the largest threat. The first strike came without warning. Humanity had prepared as best it could, yet nothing could fully prepare them for the scale of the alien assault. A Black Armada, stationed at the edge of Earth's orbit, watched the massive fleet approach. Shadows of enormous ships loomed across the curvature of the planet, casting darkness over oceans and continents. People on Earth looked up at the sky, feeling a mixture of terror and awe. For the first time, humans truly understood the power that awaited them. The attack began with overwhelming precision. Alien ships fired beams of energy that tore through space and disrupted communications. Satellites fell like rain, their signals cut off in seconds. Cities braced for impact, emergency shelters filled, and warning sirens echoed across the world. Humanity's nerves were stretched to their limits, yet the Black Armada held its position, engines glowing and weapons primed. This was the moment they had trained for, the first real test of their skills. Courage and technology. Chaos unfolded in orbit. The alien fleet moved with deadly synchronization, their formations shifting like living organisms. The Black Armada responded with agility, moving in patterns designed to confuse and evade. Pilots relied on instinct and countless hours of practice. Every maneuver mattered. Ships darted between asteroids, used planetary gravity to gain speed, and fired energy projectiles aimed at vulnerable points in the enemy fleet. Humanity was outnumbered, yet strategy and determination gave them a fighting chance. In the midst of the battle, human ingenuity shone brighter than any weapon. Engineers had created adaptive shields that could absorb bursts of alien energy. Weapons systems were fine-tuned to exploit weak points in the invader ships. Pilots used unconventional tactics, diving into enemy formations and emerging from unexpected angles. Every move was a gamble, yet every successful maneuver brought a spark of hope. Humans had never faced an enemy like this before, and every small victory was celebrated as proof that survival was possible. On Earth, people watched the sky with a mixture of fear and pride. News broadcasts struggled to capture the scale of the conflict. Families huddled together, whispering prayers and encouragement. Teachers in classrooms paused lessons to explain what was happening in words children could understand. Communities came together, sharing supplies and supporting one another. Even though most people were far from the front lines, their collective hope became a force of its own, giving strength to those in the Black Armada. The battle was not without loss. Some human ships were destroyed, taking brave pilots with them. Each loss was felt deeply, and grief swept through the ranks. Yet these sacrifices were not in vain. Every fallen ship taught the remaining fleet something new about the enemy's tactics. Every loss strengthened the resolve of those still fighting. Humanity learned to adapt quickly, turning fear into strategy and despair into determination. Amid the chaos, certain individuals rose as symbols of courage. The young pilot, untested until now, performed maneuvers that seemed impossible, outflanking larger alien ships and protecting vulnerable allies. The fleet commander coordinated attacks with calm precision, issuing orders that saved countless lives. The engineer, monitoring systems from a command center, directed resources to reinforce shields and repair critical damage in real time. These human stories became the heart of the battle proof that even in the darkest moments, courage could shine brighter than fear. The alien fleet, though powerful, was not infallible. They had underestimated humanity's unpredictability. Humans were not machines. They were creative, flexible, and willing to take risks. The Black Armada used this to its advantage. Pilots feigned retreats to lure enemies into traps. Engineers created energy bursts that temporarily blinded enemy sensors, and coordinated attacks disrupted the alien formations. Every small success was amplified, creating ripples of hope that spread across the fleet. Earth itself played a role in the battle. Gravity wells, asteroid fields, and planetary orbits became tools for humans to manipulate the fight. Strategic maneuvers took advantage of natural forces in ways the alien fleet had not anticipated. It was not just technology that mattered. It was knowledge, experience, and creativity. Every tactic, every maneuver reflected the unique strength of humanity, the ability to think, adapt, and fight even against overwhelming odds. As the battle raged, the world below watched history being written in the sky. Children whispered about heroes in space. Adults shared stories of courage over radios and online networks, and communities supported one another with quiet determination. Humanity was united not by fear alone, but by the shared belief that they could survive. The Black Armada was not just a fleet, it was a representation of every human effort, hope, and dream. The first strike ended with mixed results. The alien fleet had inflicted damage, but humanity had survived. The Black Armada had proven that it was capable of standing against an enemy far larger and stronger. Pilots returned to base, exhausted but alive. Engineers immediately began repairing ships, analyzing data from the battle, and preparing for the next engagement. Every crew member knew that this was only the beginning, and that survival required constant vigilance, courage, and innovation. Amid the aftermath, humans celebrated their small victories. Every ship saved, every enemy maneuver countered, and every pilot who returned alive was a reason for hope. Humanity realized that while the galaxy expected them to kneel, they had instead risen to fight. Fear remained, but it was tempered by determination. The first strike had tested them, but it had not broken them. Instead, it had revealed the strength and resilience of a species unwilling to surrender. Communication among humans became more important than ever. Pilots shared experiences from the front lines. Engineers explained new discoveries, and leaders coordinated strategies for the next encounter. Every voice mattered. Humanity learned that survival depended not only on strength, but also on collaboration, trust, and shared knowledge. This realization brought the world closer together, transforming fear into a collective resolve that no alien force could easily crush. The battle also revealed unexpected lessons. Humans discovered that even the most advanced alien technology had weaknesses. Energy shields could be overloaded, communication networks disrupted, and weapon systems misdirected. These discoveries were small, but they were invaluable. Each insight provided hope that with strategy, courage, and creativity, humanity could turn the tide of the war. By the end of the first strike, humanity had earned more than survival. They had earned respect. The alien fleet, though still dominant, now recognized that Earth was not a passive planet. Humans were resilient, unpredictable, and capable of defending themselves in ways no one had anticipated. This realization marked a turning point. The Black Armada had shown that even in the face of unimaginable power, determination and courage could make a difference. As Part 3 concludes, the Black Armada rests briefly, preparing for the battles ahead. Pilots clean their gear, engineers repair ships, and commanders review strategies. Earth watches, still trembling but inspired. Humanity has survived the first strike, proving that fear does not define them. Courage, intelligence, and unity do. The story of the first clash is over, but the war for survival is only beginning. Humanity has learned that victory will not come easily, but it will come to those who refuse to kneel. The sky above Earth remains a reminder of what is at stake. Shadows of alien ships linger on the horizon, waiting for the next move. But the Black Armada is ready, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Humanity has faced fire, and in doing so, it has discovered a strength that goes beyond technology or weapons. It is the strength of the human spirit. After the first battle, humanity celebrated small victories, but the Black Armada knew the war had only begun. As the fleet regrouped, repairing ships and analyzing data from the clash, a new threat began to emerge, one from within. Not all. Humans were united in their purpose. Fear, doubt, and selfish ambition had begun to fester, and some believed that survival was impossible. In the shadows, whispers of betrayal circulated. It started quietly. Certain leaders and officials, fearful of humanity's chances against the alien fleet, began to consider negotiation. They feared further destruction, imagining that surrender could save lives. Some even shared small pieces of information with the enemy, thinking it would protect humanity. Their actions were subtle, almost invisible at first, but each secret decision undermined the Black Armada's efforts. Engineers noticed anomalies in systems, pilots found unexpected malfunctions, and commanders began to suspect that someone inside was aiding the enemy. The realization of betrayal struck hard. The fleet commander called emergency meetings, gathering the most trusted leaders and strategists. They pored over every report, every transmission, and every system failure. Slowly, they uncovered the truth. Certain human factions had secretly collaborated with the alien fleet. The shock was immense. Humanity had faced an enemy from the stars, and now they were threatened from within by those who feared their own courage. This betrayal shook the Black Armada to its core. Pilots questioned whether their comrades could be trusted. Engineers worried that every design, every innovation, could be sabotaged. Morale wavered, and fear began to creep back into the hearts of those who had fought so hard to overcome it. The first battle had shown humanity's strength, but now The fleet realized that survival was as much about trust as it was about skill. Despite this, the leaders of the Black Armada refused to surrender. They knew that fear and betrayal could not dictate their actions. Every officer and crew member was reminded of what they were fighting for: the people of Earth. The young pilot, now experienced from the first strike, stepped forward as an example of courage, volunteering for dangerous missions to test systems and secure intelligence. The engineer worked tirelessly to strengthen systems against sabotage, creating checks that would detect interference before it could cause disaster. As they prepared for the next engagement, tension grew within the fleet. Every plan had to account not only for the alien threat, but also for potential human interference. Training became more rigorous. Pilots practiced maneuvers with an added layer of caution. Engineers ran multiple tests on weapons and shields. And commanders reviewed strategies that anticipated betrayal. Despite the pressure, these challenges also strengthened the fleet, forcing humans to innovate and work together like never before. Outside the fleet, life on Earth mirrored the tension. In space, communities worried about news of sabotage, and uncertainty spread alongside stories of courage and heroism. Citizens supported one another, sharing supplies and knowledge to keep morale high. Families of Black Armada members lived in constant fear for their loved ones, yet they also became symbols of hope, reminding the planet why the fight was necessary. Humanity's unity was tested on multiple fronts: by the alien fleet above and the human betrayal within. The next confrontation loomed closer. Intelligence gathered from previous skirmishes revealed patterns in the alien fleet's movements. The Black Armada realized that if the betrayers were not discovered and countered, the aliens could exploit this weakness to strike a devastating blow. The fleet commander devised a plan to root out the traitors while simultaneously preparing for battle. This required careful observation, trust in those who had proven loyalty, and difficult decisions that tested the character of every leader. The young pilot played a key role in uncovering sabotage. On a routine mission, unusual interference in ship systems led to the discovery of secret communications with the alien fleet. This intelligence exposed the hidden faction and allowed the commanders to take decisive action. The revelation was painful. Some allies had to be removed from sensitive operations, and some had to face judgment for their choices, but it was necessary for the survival of the fleet. Humanity could not allow fear to defeat them from within. Despite the internal crisis, the Black Armada maintained focus on the larger mission. Pilots trained relentlessly, engineers perfected systems, and commanders coordinated strategies with precision. Every member of the fleet understood that betrayal could not define them. Courage, trust, and action would. The young pilot and the engineer became symbols of this resilience, showing that even in moments of doubt, humans could rise above fear and protect what they valued most. As the next battle approached, the Black Armada adjusted their tactics. They incorporated lessons learned from both the first strike and the internal sabotage. New maneuvers were developed to prevent enemy interception. Ships were reinforced against hidden interference, and teams were paired carefully to ensure trust and reliability. Every step was calculated, every decision weighed against the stakes. Humanity's strength lay not only in technology, but in its ability to adapt and persevere under pressure. The tension within the fleet added a human dimension to the upcoming confrontation. Pilots thought about the sacrifices they had witnessed. Engineers recalled long nights repairing damaged ships, and commanders carried the weight of responsibility for every life under their command. The threat of betrayal heightened awareness, but it also strengthened bonds between those who had proven loyalty. Trust became a precious resource, earned through action, honesty, and courage. On Earth, people waited and hoped. News of internal betrayal was kept secret to avoid panic, but stories of the fleet's preparation and bravery were shared to inspire courage. Communities organized support efforts, sending messages of encouragement, supplies, and love to those fighting in space. Humanity understood that survival was a collective effort, dependent not only on the Black Armada, but also on the spirit and determination of every person on the planet. The first signs of the next engagement appeared as alien ships approached. Earth once again. The Black Armada was ready, strengthened by lessons learned, focused by challenges overcome, and united by shared purpose. Pilots took their positions, engineers monitored critical systems, and commanders coordinated strategies to ensure every ship had the best chance of success. Despite fear, the fleet moved with determination, ready to face the enemy while protecting the planet and exposing the hidden threats within. The battle that followed was intense, not only because of the alien fleet, but because of the human element. Traitors had been removed, but their interference had delayed preparations and caused unexpected damage. Pilots and engineers had to work harder than ever to maintain focus and precision. Every maneuver was a test of skill, every strike a measure of courage. The Black Armada fought not just to defend Earth, but to prove that humanity could overcome fear, doubt, and betrayal while facing an enemy that seemed unbeatable. As the battle raged, moments of heroism emerged. The young pilot took daring risks, protecting vulnerable ships and executing maneuvers that turned the tide of small skirmishes. Engineers repaired critical systems under fire, ensuring that weapons and shields remained operational. Commanders made split-second decisions, balancing offense and defense, and inspiring crews to continue fighting despite exhaustion. These acts of courage reminded everyone that even in the darkest moments, humanity's spirit could shine brighter than fear. By the end of the engagement, the Black Armada had survived, though not without cost. Some ships were damaged, and lives were lost, but the fleet had maintained its strength and cohesion. More importantly, humanity had learned the value of trust, vigilance, and resilience. The internal betrayal had been addressed, and lessons learned ensured that such threats would be less effective in the future. Humanity had faced danger from both the stars and within, and had emerged stronger, more united, and more determined to fight. The story of Part 4 ends with the Black Armada regrouping once again. Pilots cleaned their gear, engineers repaired damaged ships, and commanders reviewed lessons learned. Humanity had faced both external and internal challenges, and had proven that courage, unity, and intelligence were as important as weapons and technology. The fleet was ready for the next confrontation, strengthened by experience and driven by the determination to defend Earth at all costs. As Earth watched the skies, hope remained alive. Humanity had survived the first strike and endured the threat of betrayal. Now, with lessons learned and courage renewed, they prepared to confront the alien fleet again. Part 4 highlights that true strength comes not only from fighting enemies, but from confronting fear, doubt, and weakness within oneself and others. Humanity had faced its darkest moments and had chosen courage, unity, and resilience. The time had come for humanity's most daring move. The Black Armada had survived 2 attacks, exposed internal betrayal, and learned more about the alien fleet than anyone had imagined possible. Every pilot, engineer, and commander knew the stakes. Earth's survival depended on their courage, skill, and unity. There was no room for hesitation. This would be humanity's final gambit, the moment where everything they had built, trained, and dreamed for would be put to the ultimate test. In secret command centers, strategies were mapped in painstaking detail. The alien fleet was massive, its ships powerful and coordinated, but humans had learned its patterns, studied its weaknesses, and discovered vulnerabilities that could be exploited. The plan was audacious. Instead of merely defending Earth, Black Armada would take the fight directly to the enemy's command ship, the massive vessel that controlled their forces. It was a risk unlike any before, but victory required boldness. Preparations for the offensive were intense. Engineers upgraded weapons and shields, ensuring every ship could survive the initial assault. Pilots trained for months on end, rehearsing every maneuver, anticipating every potential move the enemy could make. Commanders coordinated teams, assigning the best crews to the most critical roles. Even the youngest, most inexperienced pilots were included, because every hand, every mind, mattered. This was not just a battle of machines. It was a battle of human spirit, intelligence, and courage. The Black Armada moved quietly through space, using the shadows of asteroids and the cover of distant planets to avoid detection. Every movement was calculated, every decision deliberate. Engineers monitored systems, ready to respond to the slightest malfunction. Pilots stayed alert, knowing that one mistake could mean death for themselves, their crew, and potentially millions. On Earth, commanders communicated with precision, their voices calm but firm, directing ships with confidence born of experience and preparation. As the fleet approached the alien command ship, tension filled every control room, cockpit, and engineering bay. Pilots thought about the lives depending on them. Engineers recalled long nights of work, and commanders weighed every option with care. Fear was present, but it was tempered by purpose. This was humanity's chance to strike decisively, to show that they would not kneel, and to protect the planet they loved. Every human aboard the Black Armada felt the weight of history pressing down. Yet it did not crush them. It strengthened their resolve. The first attack began with precision. The Black Armada struck in coordinated waves, targeting the alien fleet's defenses with advanced weaponry. Energy beams lit up space, shields flared, and ships moved with unparalleled skill. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, weaving through enemy fire, creating openings for allied ships to attack. Engineers remotely adjusted power systems to reinforce shields at critical moments, while commanders redirected resources to areas under the most pressure. Every move was a testament to human ingenuity and bravery. Despite their preparation, the battle was brutal. Alien weapons were far more powerful than anything humans had faced before. Ships were damaged, and some pilots fell in the heat of combat. Every loss was a blow, yet it strengthened the determination of those who remained. Humans learned quickly, adapting to enemy tactics in real time. They used their unpredictability to their advantage, striking from angles the alien fleet had not considered. What humans lacked in raw power, they made up for with strategy, creativity, and courage. The young pilot, now experienced and fearless, led a critical strike team directly into the heart of the alien fleet. Every maneuver was risky, but it opened pathways for the larger attack. Ships dodged energy blasts, fired with precision, and coordinated with remarkable timing. Engineers monitored the fleet's energy flows, diverting power where needed to keep shields strong and weapons firing. Commanders issued orders that seemed impossible, yet they were executed flawlessly. The Black Armada had become more than a fleet. It was a living, coordinated organism, reflecting the best of human teamwork and resilience. Earth watched the conflict with bated breath. On the surface, people held on to hope, praying for the safety of their loved ones and the success of the mission. News broadcasts showed glimpses of the battle, images that inspired awe and pride. Communities supported one another, sending messages and resources to aid the families of those fighting in space. Humanity's fight was not confined to the stars. It was a battle that united the planet, proving that courage and hope could thrive even in the face of overwhelming odds. The alien command ship, the largest and most fortified vessel in the fleet, became the focus of humanity's efforts. The Black Armada concentrated its attacks on this ship, aiming to disrupt the enemy's control systems. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, engineers pushed technology to its limits, and commanders coordinated the fleet's every movement. It was a battle of wits, courage, and endurance. Every strike mattered, every decision could change the outcome, and every life counted. Sacrifices were inevitable. Some ships drew enemy fire to protect others. Pilots took risks that exposed them to grave danger, and engineers stayed in critical zones, repairing damage under extreme conditions. These acts of bravery were not unnoticed. Every successful maneuver, every repair, every daring strike contributed to the momentum of the Black Armada. Humanity was proving that even against the most advanced enemy in the galaxy, courage, unity, and determination could make a difference. Hours passed intense combat. The Black Armada slowly gained the upper hand. Weak points in the alien command ship's shields were discovered, and humans exploited them with precision. Pilots delivered concentrated attacks, while engineers ensured energy flows remained stable. Commanders adjusted strategies in real time, responding to unexpected threats and ensuring every ship contributed to the offensive. The alien fleet, though still powerful, began to falter under the coordinated and relentless assault. At a critical moment, the young pilot led a final daring strike team directly into the heart of the command ship's defenses. Every member of the team knew the risks. They might not return, but the mission's success depended on them. Energy shields flared, explosions lit up the darkness of space, and the command ship trembled under the force of humanity's attack. The pilot executed maneuvers that combined skill, intuition, and courage, creating the opening the fleet needed to deliver the decisive blow. Engineers and commanders coordinated flawlessly with the strike team. Energy was diverted to maximize weapon output, shields were reinforced at critical moments, and backup systems were activated to ensure the fleet could sustain the assault. Every decision was a calculated risk, every action essential to the success of the mission. Humanity's ingenuity and courage reached its peak, showing that even in the face of the impossible, determination could overcome fear. Finally, the alien command ship's defenses collapsed. A concentrated strike from the Black Armada's fleet shattered its control systems, sending shockwaves through the enemy formation. The alien fleet faltered, their coordination disrupted, and chaos spread among their ranks. Humanity had achieved what many thought impossible. They had struck at the heart of the enemy and survived. The Black Armada had turned a desperate gamble into a victory, proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The victory was not without cost. Ships were damaged, lives were lost, and the Black Armada carried the weight of sacrifice. Yet humanity had survived, stronger and more united than ever. Pilots, engineers, and commanders emerged as heroes, not just for their skill, but for their courage, perseverance, and willingness to face unimaginable danger. Every person in the fleet had contributed to the success, showing that true strength lay in collaboration, trust, and determination. As the alien fleet retreated, Earth celebrated cautiously. People watched the skies, knowing that while the war was not completely over, humanity had shown that surrender was not an option. Communities rejoiced quietly, families reunited, and the planet began to breathe a little easier. Humanity had faced the impossible and had not only survived, but had shown the universe that Earth was not a planet to be taken lightly. The story of Part 5 ends with the Black Armada regrouping after the decisive strike. Pilots cleaned their ships, engineers repaired damage, and commanders analyzed the battle's lessons. Humanity had taken the fight directly to the enemy and proven that courage, strategy, and unity were more powerful than fear. The planet looked to the skies with hope, knowing that the Black Armada represented the best of human spirit. The victory was more than a military achievement. It was a testament to human resilience, creativity, and determination. Humanity had faced impossible odds, adapted, and fought with everything they had. The Black Armada had shown that even in the darkest moments, humans could rise above fear and achieve what seemed unthinkable. The galaxy held its breath. After the Black Armada's daring strike against the alien command ship, the remaining enemy forces were in disarray. Earth had survived what many thought impossible, yet the war was not over. Humanity knew that victory had to be confirmed, not assumed. Every ship, every pilot, and every engineer prepared for the final moves that could determine the fate of the planet. The tension in space was almost tangible, but so was the determination of the Black Armada. Pilots checked their ships for the last time. Engines were fueled, weapons systems calibrated, and shields reinforced. Every member of the fleet understood that they were the line between Earth and destruction. Yet, amidst fear and uncertainty, there was pride. Humanity had faced annihilation and responded with courage, skill, and ingenuity. The young pilot, now a seasoned veteran, sat in the cockpit, thinking of Earth below, the cities, the forests, the oceans, and the millions of people depending on them. This was more than a mission. It was a promise to every human who had ever hoped, prayed, or fought for survival. Engineers monitored energy systems and weapon outputs. They had worked tirelessly, ensuring that every system could handle the final confrontation. Years of preparation, long nights, and countless sacrifices had led to this moment. Every decision, every repair, every calculation mattered. The Black Armada had become more than a fleet. It was the embodiment of human spirit. Every ship represented courage, determination, and the unwillingness to bow before an overwhelming force. The alien fleet, though weakened, had not given up. Their ships moved with renewed aggression, attempting to regroup and re-establish control. But the Black Armada anticipated their moves. Commanders had studied every pattern, predicted every maneuver, and developed strategies to counter the alien fleet's desperate attempts to regain dominance. Humans understood that this confrontation would not just test weapons, it would test creativity, adaptability, and the strength of the human spirit. As the battle began, space erupted in chaos. Energy beams crisscrossed the void, explosions lit the darkness, and ships maneuvered with precision and daring. Pilots executed maneuvers they had trained for countless times, yet each move carried the weight of real danger. Engineers monitored systems in real time, responding to unexpected damage and optimizing weapon output. Commanders coordinated attacks across the fleet, ensuring that every ship contributed to the final effort. Humanity fought with unity, courage, and relentless determination. Despite the odds, moments of extraordinary heroism emerged. The young pilot led a strike team directly into the heart of the alien fleet, drawing fire away from more vulnerable ships. Engineers worked in the midst of chaos, repairing critical systems while dodging debris and energy blasts. Commanders made rapid decisions that turned potential disaster into advantage. Every member of the Black Armada understood that survival depended on more than weapons. It depended on courage, teamwork, and trust. The battle intensified as humans approached the alien command ship once again. Its energy shields flared under concentrated attacks, and the alien fleet tried to protect it with every resource. But the Black Armada had learned from every previous engagement. Pilots exploited weaknesses. Engineers rerouted energy to maximize weapon impact, and commanders coordinated multi-pronged strikes to overwhelm the enemy. Each human action was precise, calculated, and courageous, reflecting months of preparation and years of determination. On Earth, people watched the skies with a mixture of fear and hope. Messages of encouragement were sent to the fleet and families of pilots, engineers, and commanders held on to the belief that humanity could endure. Communities supported each other, reinforcing the idea that survival was a collective effort. Even those far from the battle contributed in small ways, sharing information, resources, or simply hope. Humanity's resilience was everywhere, visible. Not just in space, but across every corner of the planet. The final confrontation with the alien command ship reached its peak. The Black Armada coordinated a precise assault, combining strategy, skill, and courage. Ships struck from multiple angles, energy beams pierced shields, and coordinated maneuvers disrupted the enemy's formations. Engineers managed critical systems under extreme pressure, ensuring that weapons fired at maximum efficiency. Pilots executed daring maneuvers that required both precision and bravery. Every action brought humanity closer to a decisive victory. Sacrifices were inevitable. Some ships took the brunt of attacks to protect others. Pilots risked everything to ensure critical strikes, and engineers remained in dangerous zones to keep systems operational. Every loss was felt deeply, yet each sacrifice strengthened the resolve of those remaining. Humanity learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Every human on the Black Armada embodied this truth, turning uncertainty and danger into determination and hope. Finally, the alien command ship's defenses collapsed. Concentrated attacks from the Black Armada shattered its control systems, sending shockwaves through the remaining enemy fleet. Chaos spread as alien ships struggled without coordination. Humanity had struck decisively at the heart of the threat. The enemy, once thought unstoppable, began a retreat. The Black Armada had not only survived, they had prevailed, demonstrating that courage, ingenuity, and unity could triumph even in the face of overwhelming odds. The victory was profound, though not without cost. Many ships had been damaged, and lives were lost. Pilots and engineers mourned their fallen comrades, but they also celebrated the survival of countless others. Humanity had endured fire, fear, and overwhelming force, emerging victorious because of resilience, determination, and the refusal to surrender. Every member of the Black Armada had contributed to the success, proving that human spirit was more powerful than any weapon. As the alien fleet retreated into the depths of space, Earth breathed a collective sigh of relief. People emerged from shelters, reunited with loved ones, and celebrated cautiously. Cities that had prepared for destruction now celebrated survival. Humanity had faced annihilation and had risen to the challenge. The Black Armada had not only defended the planet, but had also sent a clear message to the galaxy. Earth was not a planet to be conquered. The fleet returned home, battered but triumphant. Pilots cleaned their ships, engineers repaired critical systems, and commanders reviewed the battle to learn from every success and mistake. Humanity had not only survived the confrontation, it had grown stronger, wiser, and more united. The Black Armada had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination were more powerful than fear and oppression. In the aftermath, Earth began to rebuild. Cities repaired damage, communities supported one another, and nations united in newfound cooperation. Humanity had discovered that survival required not just technology, but heart, spirit, and unity. The Black Armada became a symbol of human resilience, inspiring stories, songs, and lessons for generations to come. People understood that courage, hope, and collaboration were what had saved them, and they vowed to protect these values in the allied future. The story of Part 6 ends with reflection and hope. Humanity had faced an enemy from the stars, confronted internal doubt and betrayal, and emerged victorious through courage, unity, and intelligence. The planet had been tested like never before, and the human spirit had proven unbreakable. The Black Armada returned to Earth as heroes, not just for their skill in battle, but for embodying the best qualities of humanity. The skies above Earth, once filled with fear and shadows, now held a new meaning. They were a reminder of what humans had endured and what they could achieve. Humanity had faced fire and emerged stronger. The planet was safe, but the lessons learned would remain forever. Courage, determination, and unity were not just tools. For survival, they were the essence of humanity itself. As peace returned, Earth looked to the stars with renewed confidence. The Black Armada had shown that humans could rise to any challenge, that even the smallest planet could stand against the mightiest forces. Hope, courage, and resilience would guide the generations to come, and humanity's story, tested by fire and strengthened by unity, would continue to shine across the galaxy.